A lot of you have been asking when it comes to Dawn and Moon Mountain and this whole Arabian foals group, what is the story behind that? The story of Christoph, who is the original owner of these Arabian foals, is very long, very confusing, spans years and across the ocean because he is not from the US originally. It is all very confusing, but we're going to stay relevant with what is happening between him and Dawn with these foals that he had. Christoph is a mentally unwell man. That is not an excuse for having your horses starve and be in the condition that they are in now. However, it is something to consider when you are dealing with somebody who is mentally unwell and dealing with animals. We've all seen the episodes of Hoarders where these people love their animals but didn't realize that there were dead cat bodies underneath their hoarding pile. And it upsets them when they discover that that is what they've done to their animals, but the mental illness that they have makes it very hard for them to realize in that moment that what they're doing isn't okay. The day that Dawn went to go pick up these foals, she went live on her Instagram, and these posts are now public, and on her feed still, you can go see them. And in these videos, you can see Christoph, and you can see that he's trying to help, but he's also mentally struggling with letting his animals go. One of the things that stood out the most to me during this video live that Dawn did was Christoph was very adamant that the foals that Dawn was taking, that she should take the mothers, the mayors of these foals, with her for the care of the foals.
You're all right, baby. Yes, all right. There you go.
Shower down. She's in there eating.
There you go. Come on. It's all good. She'll go.
You have some babies. They
I have all babies.
The mare
Yes.
have still milk.
Yeah,
And
okay.
It's helpful when you have the mare with the baby.
We also have milk pellets that we can
Yeah,
give.
that's
We make a
okay.
mash, and
Okay.
we've saved a lot of babies from almost dying. So
At one point, he explains to Dawn that one foal in particular is somewhere around 5 months old, and Dawn explains that they don't need the mayors, they have milk pellets and can make a baby mash when the foals get to her place.
Dat is 5 months.
5 months.
4, 5
Okay.
months.
Okay.
But
Okay.
now you have a mare.
Yes,
So they have already milk, still milk.
yes, yes. I
And
understand.
that helps
I
for the
understand.
transport, for everything. And then you can win a day or two, you know. They're still on the milk.
Yes, they're on
And
the
that
milk.
helps.
Okay, I understand. It's okay. I mean, we have a lot of babies there that were on the milk too, and we make a mash, a baby mash for them.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all
Yeah.
good. But the most important is the horse have a soul. And when the horse goes the transport, if the mama by them, then it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. I understand.
Christoph continuously says throughout this live that Dawn should take the mothers. It's good for the babies because they're young. It's good for their souls. It will make it easier for them to transition. All of these reasons why the mothers should go with the babies. Dawn tells him that she will come back later for the mothers. They're going to take the babies first, and then they'll come back later for the mothers because there's not enough trailer room. But when Christoph is out of earshot, she says that they're not coming back. She's just saying that to basically placate him.
I'm not gonna let those two sickest babies leave without those mares. She's gonna have a fit. He said, then I go with them. I'm like, well, then how are you gonna get back?
Oh, him come with us?
He wants to be in.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's illegal. You got to tell him. It's illegal.
So we gotta get him.
Well, what if we tell him
And say the mares aren't going.
we'll come back for the mamas? What if we tell him that?
But in a more recent live, Dawn told followers and people that were watching her live that she asked to take the mothers and was not able to.
Someone saying, I wish you could have taken the baby's mamas. I actually reached back out to them and they stopped taking my text. And I asked if we could come get mamas. But it had nothing really to do with us not wanting to take the mamas. It was that we wanted to get the babies out first and safely to travel them. You didn't want to mix mamas and the babies together in the trailers. And as I continued to ask, and even when Bunny was in the vet hospital doing, sort of like her levels were going down, I tried to text the woman again and I said, is Bunny's mom available? Could I come get her? I thought even maybe to lift her spirit or to help her soul, but that woman did not respond to me and they did not allow that to happen. So
This video is getting long, so I'm going to stop this part of it here. The next video, we will cover the quarantine that Dawn does, or the lack thereof. Are you ready to hear more lies that Dawn told Christoph? As you guys saw in my previous video, there were several times during the night when Dawn went to go pick up that first group of Arabian babies where Christoph told her she should take the mothers. They were still on the mother's milk. The moms need to go, giving very good, reasonable reasons why she should take the mayors with her. Another thing that Christoph was constantly saying throughout the night was that the foals needed to go into quarantine. No nose to nose. They needed to be separate. It was really, really important to him. You'll hear him in this next clip from her live that is posted on her Instagram, him saying that to her. And she tells him, we have 160 acres, they have special quarantine pens, they have shelter and hay, no nose to nose, it's quarantine, they don't get contact with any other horses.
The problem is, I must tell you something, these horses have in the moment no caulking stress. They are under quarantine here, they have not to leave the farm. So, you have to them separate.
We quarantine everything.
You have him separate.
Separate, yes.
Not with other horses.
No, nobody touches anybody.
You have a person.
That's correct. That's correct.
You have a person, they go in a barn.
We have 160 acres, and we have 5 different quarantine pens. All have shelters, all have hay and alfalfa, and the babies get the mash for the babies.
You put the horse separate, no touch.
Yes, no touch. Quarantine. That's right. Quarantine. That's what we're doing. That's right. We're going to do that for sure. We already have the pen ready.
2 very important things to note about what Dawn says to Christoph. One is that she doesn't own the land that Moon Mountain sits on. It's owned by her ex-husband. That is public record. Anybody can find that. That is why this is the fencing that is on the property, because she is not legally allowed to put anything permanent there. It all has to be temporary that can be taken down and removed. And secondly is she doesn't have quarantine pens. These are goat pens that she's slapped together. And as you can see, this is an Arabian foal that she just brought in that is sick and emaciated next to a donkey, able to go nose to nose through the fence. And here again, you can also see on another side of the pen that it butts up to the horses that she has. You can also go to this video on her page. This was a live that she did when the foals got to Moon Mountain, and you can see when she puts them in that pen that there is no shelter there. All the babies are basically put in blankets like this. One was put into a blanket that was from another horse, so it's oversized on them. And then one baby they couldn't get anything on. So this is what the babies had to combat against the cold for that night. And then Dawn left the property that night, and so did the rest of the people that she was working with. Nobody stayed there. These babies were not watched at all for that whole night. That is it for this video. The next video I do, we will talk about the foals that passed away in Dawn's care. It's time for us to talk about the foal deaths. If you've been following kind of casually, you know that 4 foals of the 12 that Dawn took in from the Arabian group have passed away, but there are more. First, we're going to cover the 4 Arabians, then we'll backtrack and cover the ones that happened previous to them. So at this point in the story, we are 4 or 5 days after picking up that first group of Arabian babies, and they still have not seen a vet. Even though Dawn told Christoph that her sister was a vet, her sister's friend was a vet, and that she had a vet partner, and that a vet would come to the ranch and take care of these babies. They still have not seen a vet. Now, we've been told that it's because it was during the holiday and all kinds of things, but my thinking is if you're running a rescue and you're going to go pick up horses in this kind of state, you would talk to your vet partner that you say that you have and let them know, hey, I'm gonna go pick up these horses, can you be on standby? But I digress. We are, again, 4 or 5 days after picking up these foals. All during this time, they are going down and being picked back up. This is Felix. He was the first one that showed real signs of stress. But Felix went down and they could not get him back up. They used a tractor. This is not how you use a tractor to pick a horse back up when it's been down, but they used the tractor to try to pick him up and they were not having any success. The next day, a vet comes out to do blood work with the foals, to draw them, to do a panel on them. Felix is still down. A vet is there in person, and they don't ask for help for Felix from this vet. Instead, this is what Dawn decides to do.
Food right before he stopped being able to get up. He has had vitamin bags, vitamin A, D, and E. He has had electrolytes. He has had water. He has had probiotics. He is so packed full of everything, and because it's so cold out, I'm gonna load him up in the back seat of my truck and we gonna drive to Texas, because although it is a little ways, I'd rather him spend a few hours in the back of this truck warm and cozy and potentially kicking the shit out of my seats rather than just sitting here waiting to see what happens, or taking him to a vet that I'm not connected with, and I may hit a price ceiling, you know? With Cam, I know she'll literally do anything for us, no matter what it takes, and I want that level of care right now.
So she drove Felix 4 hours to Texas in the back of her truck because a local vet might put a cap on the money that she could spend. You've been a recognized rescue for at least 2-3 months at this point, and you don't have a local vet that you've worked out some kind of relationship with. Let's say that was the case. Why would you not go see a local vet to at least get Felix stabilized and comfortable before putting his little fighting, emaciated body through a 4-hour drive in the back of your truck to go see a sports medicine vet in Texas? This is Felix at the sports medicine vet. This is unacceptable. This foal should have been put down. He is so weak after that 4-hour drive stuffed in the back of the truck that he can't keep his head up. This is not okay. Felix passed away at the vet, and this was the first of the Arabian foals to pass. The day that Felix passes, Dawn is back at Bowie. And this is another issue with Dawn. She goes to these auctions and is touching all the horses with no idea of if they carry anything, if they're possibly sick. Not a single thought about biosecurity when you run a foal rescue. And then, of course, while she's there, she's asking for donations to pull more horses that aren't going to go back home with her because she doesn't have the space for them. She's trying to find other people to offer up houses. But why are we fundraising to pull horses that we can't be responsible for, rather than trying to do more fundraising for the foals that we're supposed to be taking care of back at our property? 2 days after Felix passes away, Ariel is the next foal to pass. And then a little less than a week after Ariel, Bunny passes away. The most upsetting thing about Bunny's death is that Dawn made her suffer. She even says it in her own words up here, talks about how she let Bunny prop herself up and sat with her as she died. It took all night. We let you rest your head and made sure you were warm. You made it through the entire night. And then I urged Cameron, who's the vet at the sports medicine clinic, towards a miracle. So Bunny suffered for hours because Dawn wanted to try to push her toward a miracle. He didn't get his own post, so I don't know exactly when his death occurred, but you can see that Dawn talks about that Bunny goes to be with Felix, Ariel, and Aladdin. So Aladdin was the fourth foal that passed under Dawn's care. Now, I will admit, there is no way for us to know that Dawn is 100% the reason why these babies passed. Just like how we don't know that for 100% for sure that the babies would have died if left with Kristoff. We do know, however, that of everybody who had babies and of those babies that were left with Kristoff, Dawn had 4 deaths. Only one baby that was left with Kristoff died. So if you ask me personally, 1 death is an awful, terrible thing, accident, whatever. 2 deaths is kind of questionable. When you get to 3 and 4, when nobody else has experienced those kinds of numbers and losses, this is more than a coincidence now. I know this is getting long, but hang in there with me. So we've covered the 4 Arabian deaths, but there are more. Now, these deaths are not as easily found on Dawn's Instagram, but they are there if you look. And the reason why we were able to find them was because somebody who is very familiar with this whole situation reached out to us and told us about everything. So this is Pharaoh. Pharaoh came in with his mother, was one of the first groups that Dawn rescued. Pharaoh's mother, I guess, was colicking at the auction house, and Dawn was hoping that the trailer ride would fix that colic, and it didn't. And Pharaoh's mother passed under Dawn's. This is Goose. Goose was an orphan who, along with 2 or 3 other orphans, was nursing off of a single mare. Dawn thought he wasn't getting enough milk, so she pulled him and put him in this goose pen, which is why his name is Goose. While in there, she gave him a bottle for a little while with full milk replacer in it, and then got sick of having to do it. So she tried to feed him with a bucket without teaching him how to drink from a bucket. And Goose didn't like that. So Goose was refusing to drink the milk out of the bucket. Eventually, Dawn decided to switch him over to goat's milk, which you can nurse a foal off of a goat or from a bottle, but she was just putting it into a bucket and feeding him the goat's milk out of a bucket and a hay, and this foal eventually died. If you've gone to Dawn's page, you also know that she has a very large population of goats. She does not believe in population control when it comes to them. We've been told from someone close to the situation that Dawn prefers to use home remedies and herbal supplements and teas and oils to care for the animals when they need medical care before going to a vet. Apparently, under Dawn's care, a vet visit is basically a death sentence because she waits so long before getting vet care when it's really needed. In one instance, a goat of hers became very sick, and for several days, she shoved herbal teas down this goat's throat to try to cure it, rather than taking it to see a vet. And when she did finally get a vet involved, it was over the phone, and the vet tried to instruct her over the phone how to put a tube down the goat's throat. From what we've been told, it does not sound like she did it correctly, because when she pulled the tube back out of the goat's throat, it seized and passed away immediately. You can see in Dawn's lives a similar situation with these foals. One of the foals came in with a swollen eye, and rather than seeking immediate vet care for that foal, she tried to flush it out with a colloidal silver. It wasn't until the vet came to do a blood draw on the foal herd that that foal finally had its eye taken care of with proper medication. I know this video is very long, but we really needed to slowly step through each piece of this information. The next video I do will talk about the fundraising, how it is being done improperly, the issues with it, and all the red flags that I have found when it comes to what this money is being used for.
Yeah, everybody, she said anemic, not able to absorb the nutrients from the food. Potentially the mash could be an issue. Is this, you think it's because of the mash that we gave?
Well, it's called refeeding syndrome.
Refeeding syndrome.
Yeah.
What does it say on there?
So super anemic, not shocking with everything. White count's okay, which is good. Platelets are good. See what the chem shows. That'll help us more.
And the chem does what? Shows
Yeah, it
liver
tells
and
about
kidney.
liver,
Yeah.
muscle, kidneys,
Okay.
all of that.
Okay.
In this video, we're going to talk about the ways in which Dawn is collecting donations and the way that she is going about using the money or not using the money. But before we get to that, I want to cover something that was recently brought to my attention. There is a group of us working together, going through all this information about Moon Mountain and finding, the holes and trying to figure out what's going on. And there is a particular person out there, I'm sure you can figure out who it is, that is going around to private messages of other people and telling them that the reason why there's drama is because it is a ploy. This individual is telling others that we are putting on this big dramatic show to draw attention away from what's really going on behind the scenes that this individual is doing. That is not the case. I and others are in no way, shape, or form working with or affiliated with this individual. And if they are telling you that we are, it is a complete and utter lie. We are not putting on a dramatic show to take people off the scent of some other thing going on in the background. That is not happening. While some of the people that I am working with have asked not to be tagged in this video, a few that are a little bit more out in public about this, I have tagged below. And those individuals, we are working together. But the person in particular who is saying these lies, we are not affiliated with them. So now that that is out of the way, let's talk about Moon Mountain and the donations. I just went and took this screenshot from Dawn's Instagram page, as you can see. And one of the biggest things that people have been having an issue with is that Dawn does not make it easy to donate to the 501c3. Rather, she encourages people to donate to her private company. And of course, when you donate to a private company, you don't have any control about what happens with that money, where it goes. There's no accountability for it because it is private. She does link to the website for the rescue, and there is a link on the website to donate to the PayPal that is cleared and certified and 100% with the 501c3, but it is a process to get there. She does not make it easy. And as many people have stated, it's very simple. All she has to do to clear all this up is remove those first 2 links to her personal PayPal and Venmo and put in the Moon Mountain ones instead. Now, she says that she does this to avoid people having to pay fees when they donate, which the fee when it comes to using PayPal, which is a service, is minimal when you make a donation to a 501c3. Britt has done several videos on this topic. I would definitely recommend going to her page. She's linked in the description below, but go there and watch those if you need more information about that. Again, I just screenshotted this from Dawn's Instagram just now. You can see that she has several fundraisers going, and when you click on these, your money does go to the 501c3 via PayPal, and you have the option to cover the donation processing fees, which again are pretty minimal. So this whole to-do about avoiding the fees that PayPal would put on your donation is hullabaloo. Now I want to go back to this list of fundraisers. Now, a couple of these are new, and some have gone away from like a couple of days before when I had screenshot this list. So it does change out fairly regularly. But this is a lot of fundraising going on for a plethora of things. There is no focus here, which I think is very telling and very concerning when it comes to what's happening with your money when it goes to Moon Mountain. Now, I want you to keep these in mind while we go look at what is on Moon Mountain's Amazon wish list. Now, there are things in here that make total sense. You know, the cover for the mobile stalls that she's creating, the baby blankets. But then there are things like this. A pink garden hose for $100. I don't know why a rescue needs a pink $100 hose when you can get that same 100-foot hose in a regular garden hose color for a third of the price. This is not the only item that really made me raise eyebrows when I was going through this list, but there seems to be this weird trend. Why do you need a pink extension cord? We don't need to play the aesthetics game when it comes to rescue. I'm also not really sure why you need an umbrella with lights on it for your rescue, or $80 hanging lights. I'm also not sure that you are qualified to use an ultrasound machine on the horses unless you're wanting to use this for your personal goats. Nor do I understand why you need saddle mounts when you're a baby rescue or a show halter. I want to go back to this list again because we have all of these fundraisers for direct ship. I don't understand why you need money to purchase direct ship horses when you've already said several times that you don't have the space for them. Like here, where you specifically say, I don't have room, and to then say, well, maybe one more pair won't sink the ship. That's, I don't know, but to me that sounds very much like famous last words of any hoarder. This Amazon wish list is full of foal and pony blankets, as you can see, which tells me that you don't have enough. But I guess that makes sense because you are still continuing to bring in more horses, even though you say you don't have the space for them. And clearly you don't have the blankets for them. Finally, I want to leave you with this clip. Dawn says she wants to end slaughter. And realistically, that's not going to happen. Horse meat is a source of food for many people and many other cultures. It may not be a primary source here in the United States, but it is for most of the rest of the world. But if you're wanting to bring down the slaughter pipeline, the way that you're doing it with trying to fundraise to bail out an orphan baby, you are paying the person who took this baby's mother to slaughter. You're paying that person money to then turn around and buy more cheap horses and put more foals without mothers. I don't understand why it is that you don't see the cycle that you are feeding yourself into. It is completely and totally contradictory of itself. At this point, I think we've covered pretty much just about everything there is to cover at this moment about Moon Mountain. If there's anything I haven't done in any of my videos that you guys still have questions about and would like to know more about, please let me know in the comments and I will address all of those.